Hi there, my name is Aaron Short. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today is Monday and it is July the 10th. I hope everyone's doing well. Hope you've had a good week. I've had a good week and looking forward to hanging out today and answering some questions and letting you know how my week went as well. So please think of some good questions for me regarding gear you're looking to purchase or gear you've already purchased or just general comments, and put a Q and your question in the chat and I'll get to it in a second once I give you the rundown of the week. And I'll start off by saying hi to our friends here. So T is here. All right, Aaron, hello in the chat. Greetings from Ireland. Good to see you, T. Bido in Buddha, Aaron, everyone tuning in. Greetings from New Orleans, Nola. And Jasper's in Amsterdam. Very cool. Look, we're all over the world. I love it. David says, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you had a good weekend. I sure did. I had a busy weekend, David. I've been recovering. Didn't wake up today till noon. I had to sleep off the gigs. Ken is in Oklahoma. Good to see you, Ken. And Jasper has a question, so I'll get to that when we start the questions. Bernard's in Suffolk. And Patsy's got a question. I'll get to the questions when I start the stream, when I start the question section of the stream. New guitar Monday. No, not a new guitar, David. I put that thumbnail up because I saw that picture of the UPS thing, and it just made me laugh out loud. So I thought I'd put it on the stream. The new guitar is still the one behind me up there. Rosanna, good evening, Aaron. Everyone here, happy Monday. Good to see you. Thanks for moderating. Rosanna has the blue spanner. That means that she's moderating, and she can eject trolls from the room. Thomas Gnome, hello, Aaron. Tom from Germany, very good. And Poo Ninja with his usual sarcastic, no, not usual sarcastic question, but a sarcastic question today. Unless he's serious, I don't know. I hear Poo Ninja has a problem with hat hair. Is that true, Pooh? So, I'll start off with an update to my week. I had a really good week. I had a lot of gigs, and I used a lot of different gear. So, I was so upset last week about the not the Voice Live 3, the TC Helicon situation. A lot of people have been buying those pedals up. I'm looking for more Voice Live 3 Extremes to purchase. Let me know if you see any for sale. I hope they'll get another shipment in soon. I left comments on the TC Helicon social media, like, what's going on? Are you still going to make the pedals? They didn't reply. That's kind of frustrating. I also left a bit of a snarky comment on the Behringer's social media. They posted an unrelated post about their business model, something to do with some other issue, and I posted, why don't you support TC Helicon? Why did you stop supporting TC Helicon? They didn't reply either. So I don't know what's going on with that company, but I will continue to use the products. I believe in using the right product for the job, even if that product is no longer supported. I saw people on social media saying they're going to stop using the products because the company's not there anymore. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand that. Like, why? Like, they haven't released an update in months, years anyway. They were just there in the office. The products don't get any worse because the company is no longer in existence. That's not right. So I'm still all up for the TC Helicon products. And so I used a lot of gear this week. I used the TC Helicon Voice Live 3 at a gig with the QSC K8.2 with in-ear monitors, which was great, as it always is. I used the eVerse 8 on, I think it was Saturday, with the Voice Live 3, and that was great too. I used the Bose S1 Pro Plus yesterday, and that was amazing. No dropouts for the new firmware once again. And I also used a patch cable with a looper so I could have a loop pedal. It was absolutely amazing because I had the S1 Pro Plus on the floor behind me, so you couldn't see it. There was no wires because I was wireless, just that one cable to the battery-powered loop pedal on the floor. And such a clean stage, and yet I couldn't believe it. I was so happy because I was looping. It's just amazing. You can't see the gear, and yet I'm standing there looping, walking around, taking a solo, interacting with people. That is why I love that thing so much, and why I was so excited about it when they announced it. Like, something that actually enhances the performance is amazing. So that I'm using that all the time now on my Sunday shows, which is great. Haven't done the video yet on the guitar behind me. Last week, the video was about the insurance. I really think it's important if you're doing gigs or even performing anywhere with equipment to be insured. And as I say in the video, in the UK, you get that as part of Musicians Union. So I really recommend joining the Musicians Union in the UK if you're a working musician. Other parts of the world, you need to find your own insurance company, and that's why I spoke about the one that I use, Insurance Canopy, in last week's video. So please watch that video if you haven't. It's very short and concise, and I think it's very important that we do things professionally as working musicians. You know, we have to track all our finances and track our taxes and get insurance and all the boring stuff that isn't buying new guitars, but will ultimately save you money in the long run, and maybe that money will then buy you equipment the following year. I mean, did you know, talking about my hair product, Poo Ninja, you can claim for hair product and haircuts for your gig. If that's your image, if your image is this hairstyle, then it's part of what you do, and you can claim for that. Sounds ridiculous when you first think about it, when you first tell someone, they laugh at you, but it's the truth. If you have to buy a certain piece of equipment or a cable, this is all stuff that's taxed. So this is we're kind of out of tax season now, but this is the kind of stuff I will cover in future. So if you're new here, please do subscribe and ring the bell. And the guitar behind me, I also wanted to figure out what the strings were on it. And a little tip is I got the calipers from StewMac, and they're awesome. They're made for guitar, because before I had the Amazon calipers, and they were useless. They wouldn't tell me what the string gauge was. They were not accurate. They were just junk. So I spent a bit more money on the StewMac calipers from stewmac.com, and they're just fantastic. If you're going to get tools, get the best tools. You know, don't buy junk to start with. Go in and get the good stuff that will last you your lifetime and make the job easy, which those calipers really do. And so they're 10s on the guitar behind me. And I've done some more experiments. I've compared that guitar to the full-size Cole Clark, and they're very comparable. Very comparable. So I've now compared the electric sounds and the acoustic plugged-in sounds, and they're very comparable. So I'm very happy with it so far. But watch out for that in-depth review and demo. That's going to take me a while to get that together. All right, so let's go to some questions now. So, and please chat amongst yourselves and put some more questions in the chat. I was thinking about making today a topic again, but I don't really want to do that. Monday should just be hang out, chat, make suggestions, talk about cool things that we've seen during the week, that I've seen during the week, discoveries we made, discoveries I've made. That's what Monday should be for, and the week should be the pre-recorded videos where they're concise and just getting to the point. I don't really want to show, like the guitar behind me, I don't want to plug it in right now and find the cable and dial it in and then look back later and think I didn't do something right or I cut the wrong thing. It's too stressful. I'd rather make the video and keep Mondays in this format, definitely. So, the first question was from Jasper. Do you find you miss volume when you don't play with a plectrum on stage? Yeah, this is a big problem for people. Some people can switch between a pick and fingers and not lose volume because they have either fake nails or strong nails or a certain technique. But that doesn't work for me. What I find I have to do is I use a boost, a clean boost on the pedal. That's why I'm a big fan of using the Voice Live 3 Extreme. I basically have a clean boost on there. When I press that button, it just turns everything up. So what that means is you can go from heavy strumming with a pick, which is going to be loud, right? When you have a thick 1mm pick like these ones, and you strum really hard on an acoustic guitar, you're going to get you see what I mean about my fingernails? They're no good for fingerstyle. So this kind of pick is going to give you a loud sound when you strum all the strings with it, even when you play single notes. So what I do is when I put that down and switch to fingerstyle, which will then be soft because I'm using just these fingers here, the clean boost basically boosts the level by anywhere between 3 to 6 dB. I think mine's around 5 dB. That's pretty loud. Just so I can then have that louder volume for fingerstyle. That's how I deal with it. Another reason I love stage guitars with a volume knob is that I leave my volume knob on the Cole Clarks at 3/4. So if I don't have the boost pedal, like yesterday I didn't have my TC pedal, just had the looper. But it didn't matter because when I wanted to do fingerstyle, or solo, I just turned up the volume on the guitar. You see, people these days are so against having holes cut in their acoustic guitars. Like everyone wants these low impact they call them low impact pickups like the K&K and the Bags Hi-Fi. No one wants to cut into a guitar anymore and have the tuner and the volume and the EQ. The market is kind of, well, I suppose, according to the guitar builders and pickup manufacturers, the market has moved away from that. But as a performing musician, I find that stuff really useful, especially the volume control. Now, I often say I don't want the volume wheel in the guitar. You know, some people want to have the tone and volume in their guitar's sound hole. I don't like that because then you can't use a feedback plug. I don't like how it looks sometimes. So I am contradicting myself. I like having the proper controls on the side, like the Cole Clark controls. I like to just take the bass all out, or add the bass in, or cut the volume, or boost the treble for one song and bring it back. I like that. And that means I can, again, if I switch to fingerstyle, I can turn the volume up to fingerstyle and then bring it back down again. So I'm a big fan of having those controls on my Cole Clark. And then the other option is to have it on the floor, which is even better, but I don't always have that floor pedal with me. So that's how I do it. Another way you can do it is you could use an EQ pedal or block if you're using a digital modeler. So rather than just boost all the volume, it can boost certain frequencies, or it can boost all the volume by 5 decibels, but also cut or boost other frequencies. That's a good idea for fingerstyle as well, because if you just boost everything, you're also boosting all the low end and then any potential feedback frequencies. So if you have the boost but have an EQ as well, or use an EQ pedal to boost, you can boost but then cut some bass, cut the frequencies that are going to start feeding back because it's louder, and also add some highs if you want that sound for the fingerstyle. So I don't use an EQ pedal when I do it. I just use a clean boost, but in some ways an EQ pedal is even better because you can get specific about the sound you get, which is not only louder but also EQ'd for that fingerstyle and that guitar. So that's how I would do it. A clean boost or a clean EQ pedal. So was that an advert for UPS? No, I saw that picture yesterday. I'll put it on the screen. I just saw this yesterday and it just made me laugh out loud. The box actually had a picture. I think Mardy Music posted it, and the box had Gibson written on it. So I went into Canva website, which is just an amazing website if you do graphic work. You know, I'm no good at Photoshop and stuff, but Canva's amazing. So I just went into Canva and removed the logo. The logo was originally Kiesel, I think, or Carvin, I think. I just took the logo off completely. I was going to put Cole Clark on there, but, you know, I just left it blank so you can imagine your favorite guitar brand. And it just made me laugh. I want to show it to my UPS driver, but he'll probably just punch me and say, yeah, it's not funny. Stop ordering heavy guitars and then returning them and selling them. Not that I do that, of course. So that really, I haven't laughed out loud at a picture for a while. That just made me laugh out loud. But yes, thank you to UPS for doing such a great service with the guitar deliveries. Really appreciate it. Oh dear. So do I use different hair product for shows versus every day? No, I don't. I use the same hair product from, I think it's Australian, and I get it from, I think it's a California company that ships it, but I think it's, actually, I don't know. Oh, no, it's a California brand, I think. Can't remember what it's called now. If you send me a super chat, I'll tell you what it is. Miss Lee, good to see you here. Now, I think you had a question last week. I've been telling people not to be rude, but unless I can answer a question on social media in one word, I'd rather not get questions there, because I was getting all these questions every day on my personal inbox, and it was kind of driving me a bit crazy. So what I do now is I just cut and paste this message to say, please join the live stream Mondays. That's where we all hang out and share the information and put all this stuff into one episode. So I think Miss Lee had a question for me this week. So can you please cut and paste it in, Miss Lee? We'll answer it here. So yeah, not to be rude, but I don't want to get those questions in my, you know, Instagram and that. So I'm just redirecting people here for now. Helmet hair is a nightmare. I hate that hat hair, Poo Ninja. People from all over the world tonight, but not one from New York. Well, I'm in New York, so New York is represented. The global reach. Yeah, I've started doing gigs in hotels recently. I've been working in some hotel. They're great because people are from all over the world. So I love to say to people, where are you from? And then play a song from where they're from. So last week I had people from England, France, the the week before that was Australia, Germany. It's really nice to play to people from all. I mean, obviously in New York City, you play to people from all over the world anyway. But in a hotel, it's particularly like that. It made me laugh actually because in the tip jar there was a lot of brand new notes. It's hard to get brand new dollar bills and $5 bills in New York. Even at the bank, they don't have them. But at my last hotel gig that I did, the tips were in brand new bills, of course, because tourists. It made me laugh. It's because the tourists go to get them when they travel and they get new bills. But when you go to the bank here in New York to get bills, they don't give you new bills. They give you old bills. Playing without a plectrum. That's my advice, Jasper. If you want to play without a plectrum completely, then you really want to. Well, the first thing is to practice it a lot, because the first thing you'll get obviously is the calluses. So I have worse calluses on my fretting hand than my picking hand because I don't always pick. So the first thing to do is to build up these calluses on the right hand if you're right-handed for fingerstyle, and just really get those calluses there. That's the first thing. Then consider growing the nails, but my nails just break, so you could consider fake nails like James Taylor. So some players like Tommy Emmanuel have no nails, and they just have these really insane calluses, and they play with those. Players like James Taylor, they prefer to get the fake nails, and that gives you a certain sound, but you've got to keep that maintained, and you've got to pay for that or do it, and sometimes those nails, I did it once on my index finger because I had a big gig, and it came off eventually, so that might happen during the gig. I like the idea of keeping the nails short and just building up those calluses via practice and pain for a few weeks and months, so you don't need that. Then there's also obviously finger picks you can wear, all those things. But once you've got that down, then for plugging in, it's really about the sound and the EQ, so your fingerstyle cuts through the way you want it to. So I would definitely look into EQing it a certain way and things like that. Take out some of the low end, because that low end can make the sound muddy. So that's what I would do, and that is what I do. I just don't do it all the time. I play about 85, 90% pick and 10% fingerstyle. Some nights I don't do any fingerstyle. Pooh Ninja says clothes. Actually, that's the weird thing with taxes for musicians. Clothes are not tax deductible unless you can prove that the clothes are only for performance. So if you work in, say you do a stage show and you have this really outrageous or specific clothing that you just would never wear anywhere else, and you can prove that you don't, you've got pictures from the show and everything, you can prove that you only ever wear that. It's very hard to do. So maybe like if you're in a Beatles tribute band and you've got the Sgt. Pepper uniform and you say I'm in a Beatles tribute band and that's the uniform for that stage show, you can claim that. But the problem is, if you're a wedding singer and you buy some really nice $10,000 suits for the weddings, you can't claim that because they will say, well, those suits can be worn other places. So that's the one thing. And I don't really get that because, I guess with the haircut, if you get your haircut for a gig, you can't help that you'll then have it when you go to dinner because it's your hair. With clothes, you wear them for certain occasions. But that's the only thing. Yeah, David is saying a lot of spandex was written off in the 80s. But that's the thing. If you just buy a really nice shirt or a really nice pair of shoes or a really nice suit and try to say it's for gigs, they won't allow that, apparently. I've been told that by multiple accountants. And again, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. But I have been told that many times, to the point where I just don't bother now. I don't bother putting down the clothes that I buy for shows because I know that they won't let me do it. But there are certain things you have to be aware of, like phone bills, where you live, storage, travel, food, drink, all these kind of things, strings. It's really interesting. I actually find it really interesting. And if it saves you money at the end of each year, if you are a professional musician doing, or even part-time and have an income from playing gigs, is definitely worth doing. Some people even start businesses just for that reason. They'll say, maybe repair guitars part-time and make it into a business so they can then have those business expenses. But again, always check with your friendly local lawyer and accountant, not me. I just say that because I don't want to get in trouble. Prodigal Nation, good to see you. Repositioned an archtop ebony bridge today, and intonation looks correct for all strings except for second string. I was not able to measure how far out in cents using the old Peterson Strobo Plus HD. Oh, the older Peterson. Well, that's interesting. So how are you going to fix that? Are you gonna file the saddle to compensate for the second string? Let us know. Is there an acoustic boost pedal, or would any boost pedal do the trick? That's actually a really good question. Let's take a look at some. I've never seen an actual. So the thing is, let's talk about this because I've never spoke about this on the channel. What you want is a clean boost. Now, when you boost the level, you're going to get some additional noise, like you would on the mixer. What you really want to do is imagine you're walking over to your mixing desk and just turning up the gain or the volume slider, I should say, by say 5 decibels. That's what you really want to do. You just want the level louder. So you don't want like an electric guitar boost pedal that colors the sound and gives it a character. Now, you may want that if you want that character, but I don't want that. With acoustic guitar, I want transparency. So let's take a look at a few things on Sweetwater because I've got the window open over here. All right, so first of all, if you happen to have something like a preamp like the Grace Design, which are famous for being very transparent, clean, and well made. I haven't really tried them much. I did try the $1,000 one once and didn't think it was worth $1,000 at the time. But my point with this is that has a boost. So what that's going to do is just boost the signal by the amount that you set on the back. There'll be a switch somewhere, maybe inside or on the back, that lets you to adjust that amount of boost. I'm not sure where it is on here. It might be inside. So I would set that to 5 dB. And that will depend on how you play. So anywhere, like I said, 3 dB, 4 dB, 5 dB, 6 dB, depending how you play, how loud you play, of course. I usually do, I think I do around 4 or 5. Oh, sorry, the boost is right there in front of me. I'm losing it. The boost is right there. And okay, so the boost goes from 0 boost to plus 10 decibels. So plus 10 is a lot, but I like that they give you that flexibility. So I probably would set that about the middle or at 1 o'clock there. So there you go. That's the first way you can do it. You might have an existing piece of gear that has a boost button on it. Now, if you had something like an HX Stomp, let's say you do like really fancy effects on your acoustic, and you have something like with these digital pedals. I don't have one of these anymore. These are good though, but there's so many pedals like this. What you can do here is you can either have, because it's digital, you can either have the clean boost, which will just boost the level. Or you can connect like a volume pedal. Another way to do it is a volume pedal, by the way, but does the same thing. Just raises the level up by whatever you tell it to, or how far you push your foot up. I don't really like that. I like a switch. I like it to be the same every time, personally. But on here, you could set an EQ block. The EQ block will have bass, middle, treble, and level. So you can do plus 5 dB level, and then take a bit of bass away and boost a bit of treble to get that more cutting sound come through. But that's obviously a multi-effects pedal. But if you're going to buy a volume boost pedal for $100, $200, you may as well, I think, get a multi-effects pedal, because then you're going to have a tuner, a delay, reverbs, different kinds of boosts, a looper, blah, 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 blah. So do consider the multi-effects pedal. So I'm using the Voice Live 3 Extreme. But I'll show you the Play Acoustic, because they're the ones that are currently in stock. So as you can see, this has no boost, but what you do here is you connect where it says pedal, you connect the Switch 3 or the Switch 6 extension pedal that TC sell, and then it allows you in the menu to assign a boost to the Switch 3 or Switch 6. So I use the Switch 3 just for size, and that would allow me to set that as a boost and then raise that up whatever I want. So when I hit that button, everything gets louder. So this is the way I like to go, because this also has delay, reverbs, and a tuner, but it also has vocal effects as well, which like the guitar pedal I just showed you, it doesn't. So if you only play guitar and don't sing, I'd go for something like the HX Stomp. If you sing, I'd always go for one of these vocal pedals that does guitar and vocals. So if you've got a device like that, it's built in. If we just look for clean boost pedal, just be careful, because sometimes they are for electric guitar and they're going to have some sort of buffer or tone tonal characteristic for electric guitar that you might not want. Now, something like this Super Clean is great for electric. I had one for electric for a while. It may be fine for acoustic. I never tried it with acoustic, but just bear that in mind if they're made for electric. I think the question was originally, is there one that's made for acoustic? I don't think I've ever seen one. Of course, you can use the electric ones. What I'd probably do is get an EQ pedal, but make sure you get an EQ pedal that has a gain control on it. Baggs Venue DI, that also has a boost setting as well. And one of the foot switches here, as you can see, there's a boost, and you can set that on the back. That's a good pedal from LR Baggs. I wonder how they're doing these days. I need to speak to them. You see, the Boss GE7, I'm told, adds noise, so I wouldn't want that. I'm told that adds noise, but that's basically what you want, all those EQs and the level. But I've been told that adds noise, so I wouldn't choose that one myself. Sometimes compressors add boost as well. Then you can also compress the sound, which is quite nice to bring out the softer notes. The Fishman pedals often have a boost built in. There's a boost switch there on that pedal. So there's just a million. There's a million ways to do this. And then there's the volume pedal, like I said, where you can set it so when you put your foot down, it raises the volume, and you can sort of ride the pedal and dial in on the fly how loud you want the boost to be. So that's nice too. I've heard great things about this pedal. So this is the Source Audio EQ. So you can actually set 4 different EQs. So you could set one EQ for rhythm sound, one EQ for boost sound, and that boosted sound could be set to a louder gain or a louder output level, I believe. So that's a good way to go as well. I haven't tried it, but I've got friends that use it. So yeah, a million ways to do it. So I'll just tell you the way I do it. Let me know if you've got any questions on that, because I know that was that's a very big topic, I know. So the way I do it is I use the Voice Live 3 Extreme, which is still out of stock, unfortunately, but this is what I use. Yeah. And what I do is where it says drive there, I've actually remapped my buttons to be different things, so it just works as a giant pedal board, which I love. But basically that button that says drive, I would turn off the overdrive and just make it a clean boost. So this pedal has a clean boost built into it, and that's what I use. Yeah, that's how I do it. But like I just said, there's a million ways to boost the level. And the other thing you can do is just, it sounds ridiculous. The other thing you can do on the acoustic guitar that has a preamp on the side, like the Cole Clark, is just turn the volume up with your hand. You know what? I love having both. I love having the 5 dB boost on the Voice Live 3 Extreme, which then allows me to solo over the loop, because obviously you want your solo to be louder than your looping. But I also love that my guitar then has that little bit of extra on the, I leave it at 3/4 on the dial, on the volume dial. So I love that if I really get carried away, or if there's something I really want to stand out, and without being silly, I can then add a little bit more on that gain control on the guitar itself and come through even louder. I love having the flexibility of both things, personally. So, yes, there may well be a pedal branded as an acoustic guitar boost pedal, but they're usually built into other pedals like DI boxes, compressors, EQ pedals, multi-effects, vocal effects, things like that. They usually have a boost, and I don't like when they don't have a boost, because yeah, for that very reason. Is it Australian actually? No, I think the one I used to use was Australian. Okay, so here's Miss Lee's question that I think what she asked last week. I like Jasper's next question, but we'll get to that in a second. I look a bit red today, don't I? I'll turn this color down. I turned my lights down because it made me blink so much. I wanted to make the room look a bit darker. I think that's better. All right. I'm considering a modular setup. Small gigs S1 Pro Plus, large gigs S1 Pro Plus as monitor, and one QSC K10.2 as front of house, and buy another K10 front. Yeah, exactly. I love the modular approach. I think it's a great way to go, because if you have 2 S1 Pro Pluses and 2 K10.2s, you can just, for a small house party, you can take one S1 Pro Plus, have a great night of it. very lightweight and portable and clean. If you're doing a slightly larger party, you can take 2 of them and have 2 of them up there and then stream in stereo music as well from in the breaks if you're doing some sort of private party. If you're doing, I use the 10.2 outside on I've got all my gigs mixed up last week, but I played outside last week with a 10.2 on a stand, and I had it in front of me because I was using my in-ear monitors, and I loved it. I loved it so much because there was no chance of feedback, and that nice big 10.2 out there blasting out the sound to the audience. That worked so well as well. Really loved that. And yeah, and then for a big band gig, you could have the 2 Bose speakers for monitors for the band, and you can have the 2 K10s on stands right out the front to blast that venue with more than enough volume. That's a great way to do it. I've also, I would like at some point to look into the tower systems again. I'm not currently in, I must make an update video about this. I'm not recommending or promoting whatever the word is, the JBL stuff at the minute. The lack of app support with them has really annoyed me. But I would like to try the EV or the Bose tower systems, because I think that's a good way to go as well. Like one of those Bose Pro 16 or Pro 32s out the front, and then the S1 Pros as monitors. I quite like that idea too, but I'm not really well versed in the tower systems yet. I need to try them in person. I've been using the QSC rig for years, and it always delivers. It's a great way to go. So yeah, I recommend you. I do recommend and endorse what you're looking to do there, Miss Lee. And I think I said earlier, I used the S1 Pro Plus this weekend with the new firmware. No dropouts, no problems, and I patched in a looper pedal, which was awesome. The looper pedal is a bit meh. It's the 720 looper pedal. It's good and it's battery powered, but to get the battery in, you've got to remove 4 screws, which is ridiculous. And to delete a loop, you've got to hit delete twice and hold it down rather than just once and hold it down. But there's not many small mini 2-pedal battery powered loopers on the market, so I went for that one. TC have the ditto, but they're not available like all the other TC stuff right now. Very annoying. All right, I like Jasper's question. Do you think the audience hears? I love this question. I'm going to talk about this for a while, so get your tea ready. You think the audience hears the difference between a $500 and a $7,000 guitar on stage? I don't think so, says Jasper. Right. Well, here's the thing. I have a few thoughts on this. A lot of us don't remember or realize that when you plug a guitar in, I love this quote. I got this quote from someone years ago. You hear the pickup, not the guitar. And that can be different when you've got a mic in the guitar, like a Baggs Anthem or something like that. But the minute you put a piezo pickup, like especially an undersaddle, when you put an undersaddle pickup in an acoustic guitar, you're hearing the sound of the undersaddle pickup. And then even when you've got a mic or a soundboard transducer on the guitar, you're hearing that. Remember, you're not hearing the guitar in your living room. You're hearing whatever the pickup is hearing, which is never as much as a microphone. And that's why people always say microphones sound the best. And it always drives me crazy on my videos when people say, I say, which pickup sounds the best? Here's the microphone recording, and here's the 2 pickup sounds. Which is your favorite? And they say the microphone. I left some pretty snidey comments on my site this week, but from those comments, I'm like, no, you don't. That's not the point. That's a microphone. That's like saying, here's a model that we're a model we're painting, and one person is doing pencil sketch, and one person's doing an ink painting. Which art do you prefer? And they say, well, I prefer the model. So they don't get it. So anyway, that's the whole point. That's the whole point with that stuff, right? You're hearing the pickup. So I do think you hear the difference of an expensive pickup. So a cheap pickup versus an expensive pickup. Yes, you hear it. Now, the guitar itself. So let's say we take a pickup system with a mic, for example, the Anthem, which has another saddle and a mic. Do you hear the difference? I don't know that you do. Not that much anyway. Like an Anthem and a good Yamaha plugged in will sound as good as in a guitar that costs thousands of dollars more. But I want to add to that, and I love this. I love adding this stuff in that's real world. This is real world stuff. I don't make it up. This is all the truth. I've had so many compliments lately on the sound of the Cole Clark plugged in, usually from guitarists, but sometimes from non-guitarists. That is how good their system sounds. And now I've got the luxury of having the two Cole Clarks, and I've had other Cole Clarks, as you know, in the past. I have recorded them, and they do sound different, but not a million miles away. So the thin line Cole Clark with all the electric stuff in, the one behind me, versus the Cole Clark Angel with a bigger body and no electric pickups. They do sound different. And I have heard the even bigger FL3 Cole Clarks, the Dreadnought size. I do think they sound the absolute best, but it's not a dramatic difference. It's not. So the thin line behind me with all that other added stuff in it still sounds very comparable to an Angel 2 without the stuff added and bigger body. So you wouldn't think that'd be the case, right? You think that the stuff in the one behind me in the thinner body would impair the sound, but it really doesn't seem to. Maybe slightly, but nothing drastic. And also the guitar behind me has 10 gauge strings on it, where the Angel has 12 gauge strings on it, much heavier strings. And it still gets very close in my recordings I did this week and listened to privately. So I think you're right, Jasper. I don't think it's worth buying a D45 $10,000 custom shop and installing even an Anthem, but let alone an undersaddle pickup, and taking it to a gig when you could get a $1,000 Yamaha and install the same pickup and basically get the same sound. But here's the caveat. Some people want to play a $10,000 D45 custom on stage, and it makes them feel happy to do so. I understand that. I have had that myself many times, and in some ways I still do. I still like to sit and play a Fender. I still like to sit and play a Martin occasionally. But I've also kind of evolved a little bit, I feel, this year into using the stuff that actually works for me. And for me, at the minute, that is the Cole Clarks. They really work for what they do. And we've often said on the channel before, you know, people say that the audience doesn't care. That is total BS, I tell you. The audience does care, and I have the proof. I have the proof behind it, because I've had so many people at so many shows in the last 6 months say to me, that guitar sounds great. What is it? And once again, they're not saying that, they're not sitting down with me in the studio and saying that guitar sounds great. They're saying the pickup sounds great, the plugged in sound. They're not hearing the guitar acoustically. They're hearing the pickup sound, and that's what they say sounds great. And even as recently as this weekend, a guy that told me he does play guitar a bit said he loved the sound of the guitar because the day before, someone that played, he heard someone else play an acoustic guitar, and he said it had a thin, plasticky sound. I imagine he meant it was some kind of undersaddle pickup, and he was comparing the two sounds. And that's, so there you go, there's the proof. For someone to actually comment that they didn't like the sound of a pickup, and then they did like the sound of a pickup. So the audience does care about this stuff. They do. The musician cares, and the audience does care. So we can't say that anymore based on my research from real world gigs. We can't say anymore the audience doesn't care. They do care. Also, the artist does care. The artist sometimes wants to be seen with a Gibson J45, and that should be respected as well. But I for years wanted to be seen with a Martin, but I soon came to realize that if Martin don't care about how they sound plugged in, because let's face it, they don't develop pickups. Even now, with new pickups on the market, they're not trying them. They stick with the Fishman and the Anthem, which are all great. You know, I do like those pickups, but they're not trying new things like companies like Cole Clark are. Cole Clark are constantly innovating, constantly bringing out new pickups, tweaking their pickups and doing this cool stuff, and that's why I'm such a fan of them, and they do sound incredible. I mentioned earlier that I played with in-ears this week. I would never play a gig with in-ears with a cheap or bad sounding pickup. It would drive me crazy, but I can play a gig with in-ears with the Cole Clark and also with the Anthem. I don't mind that either, but the Cole Clark with in-ears in particular just sounds amazing, even with in-ears. And you might think, you might not know what I'm talking about. If you use in-ear monitors with pickups and tones, guitar tones that don't sound good, it's not good, because you really hear that directness. In fact, many acoustic guitar pickup companies have asked me not to record their pickups direct because they think it doesn't represent the sound of the pickup fairly. Even Cole Clark told me that. right? They don't really want me to demo. Not the exact words, but they implied that they'd like me to demo the pickup in a room. And I understand why someone might say that makes a pickup that doesn't sound good, because what happens is the room sound then bleeds into the mic and makes that pickup sound better than it is. But the fact of the matter is the Cole Clark pickups sound amazing direct as well as in the room. And that's why I like them. I had so many, I've gone on a tangent, I apologize, but I'm getting passionate. I had so many experiences with taking pedals and all these IR loaders and different new pickup systems to shows and just pulling my hair out because I got all this stuff on the floor and I can't make it sound good and it's feeding back and I get it sounding good in the in-ears, but it doesn't sound good in the room. And then what I find with the Cole Clark is that I just take that guitar, I plug it in, it sounds great in ears, it sounds great in the room, it's got the controls on the side, and from playing it for a year, I've actually grown to really love the feel of the guitar anyway, and the look of it. So I've kind of moved away from my original thoughts, but just based on the guitar, and that's a nice thing too. It's that sort of natural evolution we get with gear that we actually come to respect and grows on us over time. So yeah, I hope that answers your question and somehow. That just became a rant. I will not apologize. Will I need a powered subwoofer like a KS112 for bottom end? Miss Lee, that's a great question. That's my only problem with those conventional PA speaker top rigs. That's my only problem with that. You don't have a sub. So there's two ways you can navigate that. You could go for the K12s, which are 12-inch speakers that will give you quite a bit of low end in the sound. So you could get two K12.2s. They'll give you more volume, more low end, but less dispersion, which isn't ideal. The 8s actually have even more dispersion than the 10s, meaning a wider spread of sound. That's the only problem. You might want to get a sub for those K10s, and that's why I keep thinking about trying the Bose systems, the towers, because they have a sub. So do consider that. Maybe you should get, and I'm just thinking out loud because I haven't tried this myself, maybe you should get something like, let's bring it on the screen so we can all see it. Maybe two S1 Pro Pluses. So you've got one for small gigs, two for slightly larger rooms like a bar, and then something like the Pro 16. I know it's more money, but bear with me. And remember, I haven't tried it, but what you're going to get here is super wide dispersion, which really appeals to me, and the subwoofer. So maybe consider that. Very sleek, very nice looking, really good dispersion. The subwoofer, no stands required. And what you could do is plug this into power and then plug the Bose S1 Pro Plus with one cable into that, which will feed that. And then with those two cables, you've got the S1 Pro Plus with the wireless capabilities in that, and then the sound going out into that Bose there. And maybe two of those eventually. Maybe two S1 Pro Pluses and two Pro 16s or the Pro 32. I like that. I haven't tried it, but that really appeals to me, to get rid of those speaker stands, get rid of all those cables going everywhere, and just have that clean look with that wide dispersion. Because even using the K10 at the weekend, the volume was fine for me, but I know it didn't throw the sound out like one of these would, and I would have preferred that myself. So weigh those two options up before you make a decision, and do let us know what you end up going with, and if you would recommend that to others, please. David said, my Fishman Tone DEQ, or Tone Deck, I don't know how you say it, has a built-in clean boost. I've used the Keeley Katana and Wampler DB boost in the past, and they work well. Yeah, like I said, just be careful. Sometimes the electric boost can add color to the sound, which you may or may not want. You're right, the Fishman DEQ has that clean boost. Most of the Fishman preamps have a clean boost. The LR Bags Stage Venue DI has a clean boost. So most acoustic pedals that are like multi-effects do have some kind of boost, and that will save you having to buy a separate pedal. EQ just as a boost, yep. Sometimes it's nice, because remember, when you boost the whole level, you're also boosting the feedback frequencies. So let's say you don't get feedback in the venue, but if you turn up your PA by 5 dB, you get feedback. Obviously, when you boost, you're also going to get feedback. So the way around that is as you boost, you cut the signals that are feeding back by the same amount. So if you're boosting 5 dB for your finger picking or soloing, then you cut by 5 dB or more those frequencies that are going to feed back at that volume. That's how you do it, because you need to compensate for the fact you're raising the volume. The Fishman AFX EQ Mini works as a boost as well. Yes, I must make the video on that soon. Any EQ pedal that has a level on it will obviously work as a boost. You're absolutely right. I think that the thing then is, does it color the sound? Does it add any noise? Now, anytime you boost your level, you're going to add noise. The noise floor is going to go up because you're boosting the level, but you don't want to add in additional noise to that. Intonation. I wanted to measure how far was out in sense. I don't have enough confidence to modify the Ebony Bridge myself. Might compare to other guitars, experiment with strings. Yeah, I don't like the idea of filing nuts or bridges either, in case I mess it up. Yeah, and definitely get the. I would get the Peterson strobe tuner. I'd get the one you can plug into, because that's even better than the mic, or the one that has that has the mic and the, where is it? I know it's here somewhere. I can't see it. I've turned the lights down too much to see it. The one that has the mic and the input. That's really cool, because then it's always best when you do an intonation to plug in rather than use the microphone. You'll get a better signal, obviously. Clean the signal. How you doing, man? Good to see you. What do you think about the GS Mini? Can it be a main stage guitar with some pedals? I did gig one for a while. I actually gigged the GS Mini with a Fishman Matrix in it for a few months, and it sounded great. It really did sound great. I think eventually I just wanted a full-scale guitar, and I moved on. The thing about me with the pickups is I like the body sounds, which the Matrix doesn't give you. Some people want that, some people don't. So I didn't have that guitar very long, but it worked out well for a while. I think of all the Taylors I've played, the GS Minis might even be my favorites. So yeah. What do you think about the ES2? The few times I've tried it, I've always felt the high E was weak and I couldn't fix it. And the sound is quite natural and almost mic-like. I don't like saying that, so, but you know, it's more mic-like than an undersaddle pickup. But the string balance was a problem, and it also, again, picks up all those noises from the guitar that you may or may not like. I think I would say my thought, without reviewing it yet, is that, and without using it that much, is that it's an impressive system that could use further tweaking. I like the fact that the pickup is behind the saddle, not under the saddle. I like the fact it picks up sound very naturally. I've played so many of them where I just feel the high E is not strong enough, and that was a problem for me. Maybe there's a way to fix that. I don't know. But that's what I found. And then the battery life. I have a problem with battery life because the battery life on those things is 30 hours. I don't want that. The battery life on my Cole Clark is hundreds of hours. Much better, I think. So, well, hey, why not consider a Cole Clark? The only problem with the Cole Clark is you can't buy them at the minute because there's none around. But there's a Cole Clark you should consider called the Little Lady. And this is their, basically, I won't say their version of the GS Mini, but it's their small-bodied guitar. I'm just trying to find one to show you on the screen. And it has their fantastic pickup. If you're going to buy a Cole Clark, do get one with the latest pickup system, which is the PG3, because that is my favorite version of that. So it looks like this. It looks a little bit weird, but then again, so does the GS Mini, right? And because of the fact it's smaller and a different shape. So this is it here on the screen. So you see, it's very similar to that shape, and it's actually a cool guitar, and it's got their pickup system in it. And I would rather get one of those, but they're more money. They're a lot more money than the GS Mini. But hey, like I said earlier in the stream, buy once, cry once. So that's their version of that. So GS Mini is good for the money, and I have had one in the past and had success with it. But if I was buying today, I would be getting the Cole Clark Little Lady. Is it Little Lady? Yeah. I'm not sure if I like their names, but LL I'll call it. I'm considering a Martin GPC 16. How is the pickup in it? Matrix enhanced with body sensor. Um, it's okay. I have such mixed opinions on like the Fishman Matrix is so impressive for what it is because it is just an undersaddle. It's balanced, it's loud, it's clean. If you want an undersaddle, the Fishman Matrix is probably the best undersaddle there is. And then when they add the body sensor, it does add more to it, but it also adds more brightness. So then you need, I find I then need an external EQ. So I don't know. I don't know what to say. The GPC 16, I've looked at those guitars. I don't think they're my favorite. Let's just take a look at one now. I think I tried one in Sam Ash a while ago. And I wanted to like it because I was thinking that could be a cool stage guitar, but I'm just so spoiled now with this Cole Clark stuff. It's so hard to go back to anything else when you have such good sound. And the prices have really gone up as well. I mean, look at this. They got 4 at Sweetwater right now. Look, for $2,000. I mean, there's a few reasons I don't like this guitar, but there's a few. Okay, here's the thing with this guitar. There's a few reasons when it came out why I thought I was going to love it, and then I ended up not loving it. So first of all, it's satin, which is fine. Satin. I mean, satin. You either like satin or you don't. But it's got the thinner body. So when this came out, I remember that when this came out at NAMM, I thought to myself, wow. At the time, it was like $1,500, and I thought to myself, wow, $1,500 for a Martin made in Nazareth with a GPC, which is one of my favorite body shapes, with the thing to put your strap, strap pins already put on there. It's got the pickup already in there. I was so excited. I remember when these came out, I was so excited. I couldn't wait to get one. And I did have one for a while. You see videos on my channel about it. I think I used it for the Smolder demo. But what I realized was they made it that shallow body depth, and I didn't like what it did to the sound. I like the GPC to be full body depth, and these ones are the slimmer body depth. Now, you might like that. Some people like the thin line vibe. I mean, the guitar behind me on the wall is a thin line. But I was disappointed because I wanted an affordable Martin GPC with the full depth body, and they took that away. They made it thinner. So that was my first problem. And then with the pickup, it sounds good, but it doesn't sound natural enough for me. And the Enhance adds a lot of treble, which you can't really dial out with the tone control. So you've then got to use an external tone control to figure that out. So yeah, for me, it's just not quite there. And the problem I have, I think, again, I'm talking about myself here. If I was to buy one of these now for $2,000, and then I was going to take that pickup system out and install something like an Anthem, which you can do, then you're looking at $2,300. Well, for $2,300, you're almost, I mean, you Cole Clark have such a bad resale in America, in my experience, that you can just get a used Cole Clark for way below that. You can just get a brand new Cole Clark, which is my preference to do for that price, which is a similar guitar. I would do that. I don't get it myself. I do miss the GPC body shape from Martin. I wish they would bring it back. They seem to be all in now on the SC guitars. I think the regular GPC was a great body style, and then they seem relegated to these sort of stage guitars. So yeah, it wouldn't work for me. But like I said, please remember, some people want Martin on the headstock, and also I am spoilt with this new pickup system that I've been using, which is only on the Cole Clarks. But like the CS, I found the same thing with the CS custom shops. This one here, I noticed they've got loads of these now. They've got 4. Look. It was too bright. The sound was too bright, and the tone control wouldn't make the sound warmer. So then you've got to use an external EQ pedal, which is, it's okay, but it is what it is. So I missed the full-size GPC body. A while ago, I didn't show it on the channel, but a while ago I got from Guitar Center, I got a used GPC PA1 Special, and it'd been signed by Chris Martin inside. and it's that model they made 10 years ago you can't get anymore, and it sounded great. Now, it was 10 years old. It hadn't been played, but it was 10 years old. And it sounded amazing, but it had a really funky smell to it because it's been stored in the attic. It had that attic smell. And I just decided I didn't want to deal with like the pickup failing and having to replace or anything. So I took that back to Guitar Center. But that was a great sounding guitar. And that wasn't even a full dovetail neck joint. So if I was going to do it today, I think I would do something. I would get something like that. Or I don't know. Like I said, I'm so spoiled now by the Gold Clark pickup. I can't even. Oh my goodness me, it's terrible. I can't give you. I can't be impartial anymore. I mean, I will always tell you to put an Anthem SL in a guitar because it sounds awesome. But for me, these days, having that fully acoustic Martin and not having to even worry about is there added weight or a decrease in tone because of the stuff in it, and then having that dedicated stage guitar is just, I think that's a great way to go. So yeah, it's okay. It's okay, but for $2,000, I think I might look elsewhere. Miss Lee, other question disappeared from chat. Here it is again. Will I need a powered subwoofer like a KS112 for bottom end or a K10? Well, I think I just answered that, didn't I? Did you hear that one? You might have missed that. I think I just answered that. I said you probably will. The one thing I miss with the QSC speakers is having that sub, and that's why I've been tempted to try the tower systems like the Bose tower systems for that subwoofer. Now, you don't always need a subwoofer for acoustic, and sometimes it's better without, I've found. But it's nice to have it if you're doing band gigs and you have kick drums and bass guitars going through. I currently use the old Bose L1 M2 and a B2. Okay, and turbo. Okay, need more power than that. Okay, so how about the Bose Pro 16 or Pro 32s? Apparently they are louder than those original systems. And I feel like if you love the sound of that Bose with the bass module, I don't know if the QSCs will deliver. It depends how much you need that subwoofer. And if you're going to buy two K10.2s and two subwoofers, then you've got a modular rig, but you've got a lot of stuff to carry into the gig. That can take me up to an hour to pack those sort of systems away, and that's kind of annoying. T said, I thought the Martin CSSC were a limited run, as in made to order for 1 year. Yeah, I did too, but suddenly loads of them have become available. I was surprised. I mean, loads of guitars in general are now available. There's every model I look for now. I often go on Sweetwater and peruse what they have in stock, and there's all these guitars in stock right now of all different styles, which is great for the customer, of course. But yeah, the C4 of these is pretty amazing. I got the first one that Sweetwater got, but I didn't like that the binding on here was a bit uneven. It was a bit, remember in my unboxing, I made a comment on that. And the pickup, I love the idea of the pickup, but it was really bright in the one I had. It sounded really bright, and you couldn't. The problem with the tone control in these systems is that when you turn it up, it boosts the bass and the treble, and when you turn it down, it does the opposite. So you can't. I would prefer just a tone control, because I found the pickup so bright. I wanted to bring down the tone of the overall sound to warm it up, but then it would also take down the bass and the treble. So I didn't like the way that the tone control worked. And the one that I had that that really ugly looking binding on the. I'm trying to find a picture here, see if they've improved it. I think they did. They always tell you don't buy the first of anything because you're going to find those problems. And I got the very first one, and it had that. See, that looks better to me there. But I also, with these guitars, I also just found it just sounded kind of thin, and the neck is so thin on this one, and it's $8,000. So I would rather have something like an HD28 and a Cole Clark rather than try to get this all in one, because I don't think it sounds as good as a standard sort of style Martin, and it doesn't sound as good as a dedicated stage guitar. So, and I also think the problem with this model is a lot of people realize that they will make a standard series version of it for like $4,000, and it'll be half the price. So I think a lot of people are waiting for the standard series version. But hey, if you've got the money get one and use my link. Just kidding, just kidding. All right. So yeah, I'm not sure, and we're still waiting to hear about the John Mayer special editions as well. I heard July or August for those, but there's been absolutely no rumblings at all about the John Mayer anniversary guitars. And do I even want to get one now? I don't know. It's a lot of money, and I've got some other John Mayer guitars anyway, so we'll see. So yeah, I'd love to know what people think. I'm always ranting and raving about Cole Clark lately. I really feel like people are going to think I'm just a complete shill, and they're paying me somehow to like start slipping their name into these pickup videos. Like, I'm very aware that I've reviewed a lot of pickup systems, and lately I keep saying, well, I'll just get a Cole Clark. That's obviously a very good. I mean, whether you appreciate my opinions on this stuff or not, it's obviously good for them that is my opinion. And that is my opinion. What am I going to do? I'm not going to lie and say, I'm not going to tone it down so the other pickups that I reviewed come out better. It's a great, it just works for me. Hey, it may not work for you, I don't know. But it works for me, and that's why I keep talking about it. I really believe in talking about the stuff that you use to make money at gigs. And that the Cole Clark guitars are just, they become amazing tools for what I do. And I want to see them in more places. I think what they need is more exposure to the market, and I'd like to help them with that too. And again, not in a financial way, although I guess if I end up, well, that's a whole debate there. Do you want to work for a company and be paid by them or not? Because obviously it changes the feel of what you're doing. But I do want them to succeed, a bit like TC Helicon. I love the pedals. I still love the pedals. They're no longer around. Maybe if I'd promoted them more on the channel, they'd have sold more and they wouldn't have closed down the office. Now, I don't want to take that sort of responsibility on with companies, but I will always tell people that this is what I use. I use the Voice Live 3 Extreme. I love it. This is why I love it. And I'm just not really interested in trying to promote stuff from other products that I actually wouldn't use. What's the point? So now, even though you can't sort of order one today, you can put your name down on the pre-order list. They may get more in stock. You can look for one on the used market. And I do really hope that another company comes along and makes such a good product, but they just haven't done it. And it's the same with the Cole Clark. Other companies are not taking acoustic guitar amplification seriously enough. Now, LR Baggs are. Fishman have. I mean, Fishman did so well with the Aura stuff, but then I haven't seen the new Aura things coming yet. And LR Baggs definitely are doing a lot. They released a new pickup this year. They've got more coming, according to them, like with the hi-fi stuff. They're trying, but Taylor still have the same ES2 system. Gibson, the big, what I call the big three, Martin, Taylor, and Gibson, they're not trying even to amplify their acoustic guitars. So I've kind of, that's where I'm kind of at. I've kind of given up too. I'm like, you know what? Like with Martin, if you're not going to try to make your own pickup system and you're not going to try to amplify your guitars, apart from like the SC guitars that I'm not really a huge fan of, then I'll just buy a standard series Martin or a custom shop Martin, and I'll just play it unplugged for the few times that I do play unplugged, if I do a recording or something. And then I'll use the tool that works for me, which is the Cole Clark. So I'm just being honest, that's all. I was very close to getting a CSSC, but I went off them. Looks like they might have been making more than one small change in the John Mayer. I heard the John Mayer change was the finish, but that might be incorrect. So I think they just wanted to change the finish, and the sort of picture that I showed here a few months ago, I'll be honest, I'm not a huge fan of that look. I wish they just brought back the original guitars. That's what we want. We want the John Mayer OM28 re-released for $10,000 with a slight change to the inlays. So the original buyers still have their original version and can still sell them for $20,000, which is crazy price that they are right now. But we just want, and yes, I am salty because I sold mine for $7,000 and it was a great guitar. But I also have my Martins now that I think sound as good or better, which is the truth. But that was a great guitar, a cool guitar. I do wish I still had it, and I wish they would. We all wish they would just re-release that model with slightly different inlay to show that it's not that guitar, and we can just buy that guitar at 10 grand. I'm worried. I'm worried that I'm going to want the new anniversary OMJM, even though I'm not a huge fan of the OMJM. I'm worried that I'm going to want the 45 John Mayer, even though I can't justify with taxes $20,000. I can't justify that. No guitar is worth that, and it would have to be so incredibly well made and sound so incredible, better than any other acoustic to justify that kind of money. So I don't know where that's going. And honestly, lately, I'd rather just talk about the stuff I use, which is the Cole Clarks. But I'd love to know what people think watching this video. Does it annoy you when I talk about Cole Clark? Are you intrigued? Would you like to try one? Do you not care about Cole Clark guitars because you don't care about plugging in your guitar? I'd love to know what people think. I don't really know what people think. I know I keep talking about it, but I get it. Like if I didn't plug in, if I didn't do gigs and just played at home, and not to say just played at home, but if my primary location of playing the guitar was at home in front of a microphone, I'd probably just look for a great sounding acoustic too, and not even bother with pickups. But I know there are people out there that plug in a lot. There are people that do gigs, and I'm sure most people watch my channel are interested in plugging in acoustic guitars. And I know some of those people have bought Cole Clarks because they've told me. And some of those people actually got me to buy a Cole Clark in the first place because they kept talking about them. So I'd love to know what people really think about that stuff. Like, I think a lot of people just don't care enough about plugging in to even consider buying a Cole Clark or another stage guitar. That's the problem. There's not many people that are that focused on the plugged-in tone. But obviously I am, because I do it. You know, I plug in 5 nights a week professionally, so it's really important to me. But yeah, with the CSSC, I think if it hadn't have had that thing with the finish on the one that I got, and I think if it had sounded a bit better unplugged and plugged in, I would have kept it. But it just, I don't know, the whole package didn't come together for me. I think going forward, what I'm going to do, and I will talk about this eventually in some videos, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have a few guitars that sound great unplugged, a few guitars that sound great plugged in, and then just stick with that until a company decides to give us a guitar that just does it all. But is that even possible? I don't think it's possible, because my Cole Clark is made of stiff blackwood. It's designed to not resonate, which means it'll never blow you away acoustically in a room because it's not supposed to. It's supposed to shine when you plug it in. Some of the best Martin guitars resonate like crazy in the room, and that's impressive on that level. But you never want to plug that into a PA system because it's going to resonate. It's going to feed back. The whole thing's going to be moving and feedback all over the place. That's the problem. I don't believe. I believe they should be separate these days. I believe the guitar you take on stage and the guitar you record with should be different guitars. And I resisted that for many years, which is why I kept trying all these pickups that supposedly were the best. And in the end, I'm like, no. And I even look on forums now, and people are still saying, oh, I tried the K&K again, that fed back, and I tried this, and I tried that. I'm like, just stop trying. Just get the tool for the job and move on. I really believe that now. But that's just my opinion, and you might not agree with me. So, I think I'm going to wrap things up because I'd like to do another video tonight. I've got so many things I want to catch up on. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to start to wrap up the stream. And as always, I'm going to say, if you're new here, please subscribe and ring the bell. It really helps me out. Give this video a like if you like the video. But please subscribe and ring the bell because I don't have a regular schedule for videos during the week. I just post when they're ready. So if you subscribe, ring the bell, and turn on notifications, it will tell you when I post the video. And it really helps if you watch that video. So if you didn't see last week's video on insurance, please do watch it. It's only 5 minutes long. And that would be much appreciated. T says, variety is the spice of life. I love hearing about all guitars, especially the good reviews. Yeah, but so many reviews now are... Oh, you mean you love hearing about the different like Cole Clarks and stuff, yeah. Yeah, what I'm getting tired of these days is the same old, here's a new guitar from so-and-so, it's wonderful, you should buy one, and then they just put it in, they send it back and never play it again. I want to hear about what people play to earn a living. I want to hear about the stuff they use. And that's not always the stuff maybe we wanted to use, right? Like sometimes we feel that what we do or the history or what we want is a certain style of guitar, and we don't want to try something new. We want to, but really, I think ultimately it's about finding what works for what you do, and that's why I like the Cole Clarks and why I hope they do well over here in America. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yep. So have a great week. Thank you for joining me. It's been great as always. And please post any or bring in any questions next week. Subscribe and ring the bell. There will be some videos. There should be a lot of videos coming out because I've got all this stuff that I want to sell, but I do want to make the videos first of all. But I do now have a lot of gear that I really believe in, and I want to push that more and talk about that more. And that will also include, obviously, hey, I'm selling this, and the reason I'm selling that is because I've got the thing now that I like to use, and that will all eventually it'll all come together, I'm sure. And then by then, maybe by then there'll be some new stuff out to talk about, and we'll change the game again. I don't mind that. I love gear, but I do think you got to be careful. You mustn't just go out and buy everything and just buy everything that everyone else uses. You've got to find what works for you and be selective, or you can really go down rabbit holes and get away from the actual thing, which is the music, right? My favorite thing is still to go on stage and play a gig in front of people, and the gear I use really helps me do that. That's what I was looking for so long. The worst thing I've ever done is taken, say, a new pickup or a new pedal to a gig to test out, and it's ruined the gig. That for me is not acceptable. I want my gigs to be improved, not made worse. The good, honest reviews. Yeah, well, the thing is, I'm not knocking it. Some people make videos because they're paid to make them. I've done it. It's fine. As long as you're transparent and say, look, I'm making this video because they pay me to make it, and I'm going to show you what this thing can do. That's fine. But I do, all I really care about is, all I ever cared about was finding stuff that works, that helps me do better gigs. That's all I ever really, but that's such a niche thing because there's not even that many gigging musicians on the planet, are there? Most people play at home or are learning and things like that. So it's such a niche angle, but that is what I really care about. Yep, tell Lee I said hi. Oh, and by the way, I got your birthday card, Rosanna and Lee. Thank you for the birthday card. I really appreciate it. Cheers, David. Thanks, T. Thanks, Patsy. It'd be good to hear what you and Lee think of the Cole Clark sound live. Yeah, they're going to be coming to one of my shows soon. So we'll see what they say. Perhaps they can give me, perhaps they can give us a lowdown when they get back. Yeah, but like I said, all that really matters is you. If you find a guitar that you love, then just play that guitar and don't, try to get away from worrying what people will think on forums or what your friends will say about what you play. Just find something that feels and sounds great to you, and that's such a personal thing. All right, everyone have a great week. Take care and be well. Look out for my videos. Please watch them. Please give them a thumbs up, and hopefully we'll be at 15K soon. See you soon. Take care and be well. Bye-bye.
I'm not lost, but I'm not found. I'm not up, but I'm not down.